All right, you guys, today is sadly the last solo episode of the podcast, meaning this is the last show with just me hosting. Next week, I will have one more joint goodbye episode with Ian Carroll, so definitely look out for that. What do I have for you guys today? There's so many things that we should be talking about in the world. First and foremost, Shannon Sharpe is officially out at ESPN, as we predicted yesterday would likely happen. So his earlier words toward me are not, in fact, aging well. Also, JoJo Siwa is apparently no longer a lesbian, so her earlier words toward me are not aging well. Definitely have some final updates for you guys in the Blake Lively lawsuit. Subpoenas are in fact incoming, plus some lawsuit changes are coming as well. And we should also talk about the war that is pending very briefly. Iran, that is something that you should know before I go on maternity leave. But first, a fun challenge for you guys, okay? A multiple choice question, if you will. Many will enter, few will win. Are you guys ready? Who said this? Quote, let's talk about flower sprinkles because I think it speaks to the tiny moments of joy that are so effortless and just create a little bit of magic. End quote. Flower sprinkles. Who said that? Was it A, my toddler daughter this morning asking me to bake cupcakes? Was it B, Meghan Markle discussing baking? Was it C, Blake Lively discussing baking? Or was it D, Katy Perry, who was totally baked, coming down from that Blue Origin high? The answer is going to surprise you, so welcome back to Candace. I'm going to have my producer drop that poll in right now on YouTube to see if you guys can guess it. A, my toddler. B, Meghan Markle. C, Blake Lively. Or D, Katy Perry. All right, guys. A lot going on. Running late. You have no idea how much happens between when I wake up and the show. My PR agent is messaging me. There are so many people working on hit pieces on me at every hour of the day, and it is strange. It just defies logic. What is there left to be said? What is there left to say about me? Guardian dropped theirs this morning. They're talking about the woman's sphere. Look at this. Me, Brett Cooper are apparently colluding or didn't know take over the woman's sphere or something. The title of the article is Now Comes the Woman's Sphere. It's worse than the manosphere. The anti-feminist media telling women to be thin, fertile, and Republican. I don't know if that is how you guys would sum up my podcast, me yelling at you to be thin, fertile, and Republican. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. And then simultaneously, GQ's working on a hit piece. Jared Holt, this one of these Israeli media assassin type people, is working on a biographical hit piece. They hit us with like 15 questions this morning. They were so absurd. It was just so absurd. It's like, can we find any lie in her background? They're like, we noticed you said once that you dropped out of college because of student loans. We could find no evidence of this. But then later that you finished college, we could find no. It's like so dumb. Like, who lies about stuff like this? I don't need to lie to you guys. I'm just so not perfect that everything out there you can find. They're like, you said you worked in private equity. We can't find the name of the firm you worked at for 4 years. Well, look harder. I mean, it's just so overdone. And I'm just glad that we're moving towards a place where we just don't care anymore with the media rights. And I actually kind of find them to be quite pleasant and funny these days, to be honest with you. So confession for you all. I gotta tell you, deep down, I wasn't so sure, is what I would say. Back in 2015 to 16, was it, when Hillary Clinton was running, and everybody was like blaring out this message, the future is female. Remember this, the future is female, they said. And I just kind of quietly sat back and said, I don't know about that. I have questions. I always have questions. I have so many questions. What does it mean? Where are we going? And now we are in the future. And it is a lot of females. And they are doing and saying a lot of female things. And so I just am wondering if other ladies are feeling so certain about this future that we are barreling toward that is female, because there's a lot of things that we're saying, maybe too much. I had this commenter yesterday on YouTube because I read your comments. I'm very engaged. I'm one of those people that actually runs my own social media accounts, which isn't like nobody does that. They never think I do. They think there's somebody managing it. And I was reading your YouTube comments and I was convinced that this commenter was lying when she wrote this on YouTube. This is a comment. Remarkable wrote, the last time Candace spoke about this Katy Perry mission, and she showed one of the articles written about it, I think before the trip took place, and the women were going on about how they were bringing glam to space. We must be glam. Candace didn't read this part, but there in the article, it said that one of the women wanted to make sure that her hairstyle would survive no gravity. So she went to Dubai and went skydiving to test out her hair do and was happy to see that it would survive her little space trip. These people are ridiculous. Again, I just assumed this was just a random person trolling, and I just briefly checked, and it turns out that that commenter was not lying at all. The space ladies, the spice ladies, space ladies gave an interview to Elle magazine, and it is true. Alicia Bow and Amanda Nien, I don't know how to say her last name, I'm sorry, but they actually said this in an interview to Elle. They said, quote, the all-female crew of the New Shepard said they plan to be glamorous in space and not to be ashamed about it. They said, quote, I think it's so important for people to see us like that, the dichotomy of engineers and scientists and then beauty and fashion, because we contain multitudes. Women are multitudes. I'm going to be wearing lipstick, Bo said, that she took the hairstyle she plans to wear on the flight on a test run skydiving in Dubai, saying, quote, I also wanted to test out my hair and make sure that it was okay. Space is going to finally be glam, added Katy Perry. I don't know. I can't believe that was actually said in an interview, and they're surprised that there has been so much backlash. I don't even know if that's what Hillary Clinton had in mind. I just know that there's a lot happening in female land. I woke up this morning and I had a text message from Brett Cooper. She randomly chose violence and decided to send me this wonderful excerpt, which was taken from Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People Summit, because they have that, I guess, apparently. They invite everybody who's so powerful and brave and fierce. And it took place yesterday in New York City. So this event, as you can imagine, is billed as all of the top bosses, the lady bosses, the male bosses, the people that are the most futuristic, femalist people ever. And so naturally, Meghan Markle was there, and she was being interviewed by Jessica Sibley, who is the CEO of Time. And they had a pretty important discussion, but I'm going to first see how you guys voted, because it was indeed Meghan Markle. You guys got it right. 46%. The sprinkle lady, the CEOs, this is how they were speaking. And they decided to have her on stage to speak about flower sprinkles. And it wasn't my daughter. And I don't know why. It should have been my daughter, but it wasn't my daughter who said this. Take a listen.
Give me some tips. What should I ask Meghan?
You don't need tips.
Oh,
you're doing great.
I always need tips. And she said flower sprinkles.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about flower sprinkles.
You would think it's like a little fairy if I could just be tossing them around all the time. The obsession that has come with flower sprinkles,
Explain
I was
to
not
this
expecting.
audience who might not have watched the show yet about flower sprinkles.
So I just, it sounds so, of all things to be talking about for Time 100. Let's talk about flower sprinkles. Because I think it speaks to the tiny moments of joy that are so effortless and just create a little bit of magic that we're all craving in our everyday. They're tiny little flower petals that are dried. I started putting them on salads. I started putting them on scrambled eggs. It didn't actually matter. On a yogurt parfait, the level of charm that you find people have when they see these tiny little dried petals is something I can't fully wrap my head around, but I appreciate that there is a love for the detail and the small level of delight that can be added. So take flower sprinkles really as an analogy and think about what you could do in your everyday life that can just have a little splash of magic on unexpected moments.
I genuinely am aspiring to be that rich in life. There is nothing I hate about that. I love it. I love it so much. I want to be that rich in life where like my day comes down to magic and flower sprinkles. Because it's like, it is kind of like the lifestyle of my toddler, my 2-year-old, where like everything's free, everything's perfect, everything's amazing. And so you can just focus on rainbows and sprinkles and colors and say, I want. And that's wonderful. I love that. Anyways, we know also on that 100-time most influential list was Blake Lively. We discussed this a few days ago, and I have long made the argument that she should have been included. She's been incredibly influential this year, definitely influential for my podcast, many other people's podcasts, not in the ways perhaps that she had imagined, but the sham lawsuit really was a piece of her finest work. We obviously covered that extensively earlier this week, essentially finding a way to get around due process in a very creative way by filing a fake lawsuit, giving it to a friend lawyer, having that friend lawyer demand text messages that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. A judge would not have likely approved for Jennifer Abel's phone to have been stolen, but they were creative and stole an employee's phone. Well, I can tell you guys an update on that is this is now going to change the nature of a lot of these lawsuits because internet sleuths have unearthed that lawsuit. Like I said, I'm wondering if it's going to rise to the level of criminality, but it's definitely going to transform the lawsuits against the New York Times and against Stephanie Jones. And those filings are going to be imminent, so you can expect those tomorrow. And the subpoenas, you've probably seen in the news that subpoenas are in fact going out to Hugh Jackman. Thank you. I did not say Hugh Hefner. I'm so proud of myself. To Hugh Jackman and to Taylor Swift. And I love it. I really do feel like 2025 has just been this game of karma. And a lot of people are being exposed for who they actually are. People that were kind of put on a high pedestal. Taylor Swift's subpoena is supposed to be going out next week. So likely you won't hear about it until the week after that. But I just think the public is going to be completely shattered. Their image of Taylor Swift is going to be shattered once these text messages become public, because I have never bought the good girl thing that she pitches. I've just heard way too many things about her in Hollywood. I've heard way too many things about her team. And the victimhood thing is something that she kind of got addicted to when she saw how much adoration she received after Kanye jumped on stage and took her trophy. And then people were like, oh my God, this poor victim. And she kind of got addicted to the victim narrative. That's what I'm told. It's going to get very interesting. All right. Wanted to also quickly, in just another celebrity update land, mention the fact that I've never really understood why so many celebrities hate me. I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. I have had a long line of beef with a lot of celebrities who I'm generally rooting for. I want to be clear. Like, it's just that I don't buy a lot of the Hollywood act and I can see through them. And there's no greater example of that than the beef that transpired between me and JoJo Siwa back when I was working for the Daily Wire. Now, I want to say this. I lovingly started it by suggesting that JoJo Siwa was just a little bit lost, and I didn't believe that she was a lesbian. I said, I watched this little girl on Dance Moms. She was incredibly talented. I enjoyed watching her. She obviously had the it factor. People go to Hollywood and they lose a little bit of themselves. And it seemed to me that she was quite injured and lashing out. And so I guess, like I said, I lovingly started it by saying that, I have this theory that this is why we need to bring back cigarettes. When we were kids, back in the 80s, I grew up in the 90s, but in the 80s, a lot of people smoked cigarettes, right? And I think adolescence, as I have said many times, is a natural phase for children to go through. It's a natural phase to want to be nothing like your parents and to experiment with doing bad things. Once upon a time, people had cigarettes and they smoked cigarettes in high school. Now we have transformed into a world where people can change experiment with their gender, and say that they're all these sorts of letters that they are, and I'm actually L, B, whatever it is. But typically, it's just like I'm in an adolescent phase and I'm crying for attention. And I felt in my heart and in my soul that that was the situation with JoJo Siwa when she was being a lesbian too hard. She just, every time she spoke, it was about being a lesbian. It would be weird if every time I spoke, I was just, I want you guys to know how straight I am, how heterosexual. I am so heterosexual. I am just the most heterosexual person. You'd probably go, why do I feel like she's not heterosexual? That's how I felt about JoJo Siwa. And she didn't like that. Here's a clip of what I said about JoJo Siwa very quickly, and I'll show you how she responded. I don't believe JoJo Siwa is a lesbian, by the way. I want to state that very clearly. I do believe that she's desperate for attention. And she got on X, and this is how she replied to me. And this episode, again, this was about, April 2023. So this was 2 years ago. She wrote, I haven't watched the video yet, but if it has anything to do with your caption, respectfully back the F off. I said, is she lying about being a lesbian? Okay, cool. Well, we are one step closer to JoJo Siwa and admitting that I was right, because here's also a clip of her saying that she would never speak to me because of this infraction. Take a listen.
5 people that I will not be having on JoJo's You Now. Candace Owens, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Her and I do not fuck with each other. She wasn't going after me. She was going after a whole community of people, and that's not okay.
All I did was say that I didn't believe that she was a lesbian, and it looks like I'm correct. Here is the headline in the Daily Mail. JoJo Siwa says she has realized she is not a lesbian. It's just fantastic. It ages well. Some of my episodes does age well. And the reason why this transpired, the backstory is now she's on Celebrity Big Brother, which is a show in the UK, and apparently she's flirting with a guy. Now he's got a guy that she's flirting with, a flirty friendship with some guy named Chris Hughes. So she has to redefine her sexuality and pretend that, well, I'm not a lesbian, I'm queer, which is all encompassing. I can be anything that I want at any time. And so that's what she's saying. Take a listen.
I've always told myself I'm a lesbian, but I think being here, I realized, oh no, I'm not lesbian, I'm queer.
You are.
And I think that's really cool.
You are.
I'm switching letters!
You're queer.
All roads lead to Candace, JoJo Siwa. All roads lead to Candace. We'll sit down one day when you realize that you were just going through an adolescent phase. Anyways, I find that to be kind of annoying, right? And I think in general, when I think about why I cringe a little bit when people say the future is female, is because I think as a woman, we suffer a lot with analysis paralysis, right? We don't do well when there are too many options. Our brains kind of want all of them. That's kind of my show. I kind of just talk about everything: politics, pop culture, history, psychology. And everybody knows what happens when women go into Target and we swear we're getting just one thing, and then we leave Target and we have like kayaks and canoes, and we were just supposed to get soap, you know? So I'm not saying I don't want the future to be female. I'm just saying that we should think about the future maybe being something else. And I'm going to vote African. I'm feeling African. I want the future to be African. I would pay any sum of money to have the guy, the notorious man who sat down in 2012 in Uganda. Remember that Ugandan interview? If you have not seen it, this is the greatest interview that's ever happened from 2012. On a morning news show known as The Morning Breeze in Uganda, where he legitimately, in Africa, because it's just different there, and they look at us and just think Americans have lost their minds. They just got too many options. Everyone's crazy. So many options, they can't think straight. They're buying kayaks at Target. We don't have so many options, and so we're thinking straighter and things make more sense. Anyways, this African broadcaster was interviewing a woman who identified as a lesbian, and it's still the greatest bit of TV that you will ever watch in your life. Take a listen.
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr? Pepe Julian Onzima. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
Good
having
morning.
me. Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay. You are a transgender.
What shows that I'm gay?
You are a transgender, and
Yes,
you're
I
a
am.
gay rights activist and an outspoken lesbian, homosexual. How can I describe you?
Sorry, it's just transgender, a lesbian. How can I describe you? Homosexual? That I want the Black Pope. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be the African Inquisition, and that guy is going to go around houses, and he's just going to be, why are you gay? You are gay. Sentencing just like that. Transgender, a homosexual. How can I describe you? Okay, that's what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for the African Inquisition, and I would pay, when I say any sum of money, to watch him interview JoJo Siwa and have her explain to him that she's now queer and not lesbian. I mean, I would crawl over broken glass to make that happen. And that's all I'm going to do in terms of updating you guys on what's going on in Celebland before we jump into a Shannon Sharpe update. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys about pendulum life. We all know modern life is disruptive to our body's natural state, but did you know the beneficial bacteria in your gut that you're born with becomes depleted over time due to things like diet, stress, travel, and antibiotics? Well, Pendulum Akkermansia is a next-generation probiotic that restores your gut's natural balance. It improves gut, digestive, and metabolic health. And it's a natural way to reduce cravings. Plus, Akkermansia feeds off mucin, whose levels may be increased by a meat-rich diet. So if you have meat in your diet, this could enhance the benefits of Akkermansia. And the best part is there's no prescription needed. It's made in the USA. And it's also HSA and FSA eligible. So take your health into your own hands and enjoy 20% off your first membership order at pendulumlife.com/Candace. That's PENDULUM life.com/Candace. Also, on the topic of wellness, don't forget about the wellness company. I don't know if you've seen the latest fluoride headlines in the water supply. The future of oral care isn't fluoride, it's peptides. And the wellness company just launched the first ever peptide paste that regenerates gum tissue, strengthens enamel, and naturally whitens your teeth. It's called Smile, a doctor-formulated breakthrough that works with your body's natural repair process. This advanced formula blends targeted peptides with blue, spirulina, aloe vera, and powerful remineralizers to boost blood flow, stimulate collagen, and help rebuild lost gum tissue, all while gently whitening without sensitivity. No fluoride, no peroxide, no artificial dyes, just real clean ingredients that fight bad bacteria and support a healthier mouth from inside out. Ready to upgrade your oral health? You can experience the future of oral care with Smile and get 15% off plus free shipping if you head to twc.health/Candace. And if you use code Candace at checkout, you'll get 15% off plus free shipping. So take action today for a healthier tomorrow. That's twc.health/Candace with promo code Candace. All right. Well, that was fast, is what I would say. Very, very fast, Mr. Shannon Sharpe. He is officially out at ESPN. We said yesterday that this was likely to happen because with these sorts of contracts, millions and millions of dollars, they can and usually do include a morality clause, which, as I explained yesterday, just means just be a decent human being in your personal life too, and don't bring the company any embarrassment, meaning don't be caught at a strip club smacking booty cheeks that are $25,000 per cheek. And he wasn't at a strip club, but his text messages have been revealed, and it's quite embarrassing for ESPN. So he used to be on First Take, and now they are putting that on ice. Now, tempting for me, obviously, given the fact that despite me never meeting this man and having done absolutely nothing to this man, he truly had a moment of glee and happiness and encouraged people not to work with or speak to me when I got fired from the Daily Wire last year. Literally, we are talking about almost exactly a year ago, which is insane. Just over a year ago, reminding you of what Shannon Sharpe said as he was dancing on my grave.
Candace has given y'all her butt to kiss for 2 decades. In the moment, what they doing? They can't fire me. They can't fire me. The hell you say? Now look at her.
Tempting. That's how it started. I mean, imagine just cheersing. Like cheers to Candace being fired. She did nothing to us, did nothing to us at all, never said anything about us. Yeah, that was how it started. This is how it's going. Here's the NBC headline. He is stepping down from ESPN in the wake of a sexual assault lawsuit. Now, I think first and foremost, this really is a lesson not to take any amount of pleasure in glee in the suffering of people, especially people who you don't know and have never wronged you. That's just a very strange thing to do. Like, I don't know why we would be celebrating people suffering. That's not something we clink glasses to. And like I said, it seems especially egregious when no one's done anything to you. But there is some accidental hilarity in this situation. And by the way, I don't take any, I obviously have given you my opinion on this. I do not think that the rape element is true. I do think that he has been behaving sloppily, and so that has caught up with him. And I understand ESPN's decision here. But the accidental hilarity that happened in this situation is that how it's the manner in which Shannon chose to make the announcement regarding CNN. So he took a screenshot of a text message, which clearly had to have been written by someone else, maybe his lawyer or his PR team. It wasn't written by him. And then he shared it onto X. So people were laughing at him going, "You're not supposed to share. You're supposed to make it sound like it actually was written by you." Here's what he wrote when he shared the news. He said, "My statement is found here, and this is the truth. The relationship in question was 100% consensual. At this juncture, I am electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties. I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I have received from my family, fans, friends, and colleagues." Shannon Sharpe. Okay, Not the whole truth. You always have to kind of read in between the lines with these statements. PR people, lawyers are involved are trying to kind of massage the situation and make it look the best that it can possibly look given the circumstances. Well, Deadline, which tends to have a major in on sports related drama, is reporting that, quote, whether or not Sharpe returns to First Take in subsequent weeks is TBD, but also whether or not he returns at all is TBD. And they instantly heard from an ESPN spokesperson who told Deadline this. They said, quote, this is a serious situation and we agree with Shannon's decision to step away. So it appears the truth is that Shannon Sharpe essentially quit before he was fired. He wanted to avoid people kind of laughing at him or saying he was fired and also kind of have a little more control over his own destiny. But this was likely they were going to say to him, look, it's been too much. You were caught in the act on Instagram by accident. Now we've got these messages. We don't know how much more she has. We kind of want to save ourselves the embarrassment of any more things that are happening. And it's just, you don't want any employee that's doing that much and taking away from the company. So that makes sense to me. It makes total sense to me. Again, I don't wish him bad. I hope that he finds happiness. I don't particularly take him to be a happy or a well-rounded person. And I think his behavior illustrates that. His behavior in privacy, but also in public, the way that he treats people on his podcast. You have to not be happy and whole to just enjoy and take joy in other people's suffering. So, if you're a fan of Shannon Sharpe, pray for Shannon Sharpe. It's as easy as that. I do want to also get to something very serious because we're not going to have this podcast. And obviously, the Zionists are just very happy for a few weeks to get a break here. And it's because I have obviously very much exposed to you guys things that are very important. And I just think that people always think freedom is a guarantee and that it could never happen in America. We have no memory of slavery. We have no memory of us not having the ability to express ourselves. And these things can happen overnight, and then very quickly you can have all your freedoms taken away. And that's kind of, by the way, the lesson of 9/11. You have no memory of freedom when it comes to the time of going to the airport and being able to just like walk through. Like you see these movies where people like getting off the plane and people are holding signs for them. That used to be America. We used to be more free. And then we got governed post 9/11. And it's really important to recognize that we are kind of facing one of these crises again. It's why I've been really pressing my thumb on making people to understand, helping people understand that all of these rabid claims of anti-Semitism are trying to distract you from the fact that we are losing a lot of our freedoms to this unholy alliance that we have with Israel and our politicians being blackmailed and bought by them. And, so much evidence of that over the years, never getting the Epstein files, the JFK files. I mean, it's all a nonsense. And there have been journalists that have been so brave on the left and the right in exposing this. And I don't think there's been anyone more brave than Glenn Greenwald. He is absolutely fantastic. If you're looking for something or someone to watch while I am gone to know about what is happening in the world, Glenn Greenwald's System Update is what I watch. And what's funny is we're on opposite side of the political aisles, and he's honest and he tells people the truth and stands up to Israel. He really does. And I wanted to show you this because what is happening, obviously, is this war in Iran has been planned for a very long time. I was saying this years ago, if you look at my old content, that Israel wants war with Iran, Bibi Netanyahu wants, Bibi Netanyahu gets. And so right now they're playing this game of pretending once again that there's like weapons of mass destruction. It's literally Iraq 2.0, weapons of mass destruction. But in reality, what they want is a regime change. And your children are going to have to fight these wars or suffer these consequences depending on how old they are. This is a time where we get to revisit 9/11, right? What are the lessons learned? That the neocons and the war state, they perpetually lied to us about everything to get us to comply with it, and we should be resisting it. And Glenn Greenwald just kind of breaks down what's actually happening behind the scenes, where they don't really want peace. They're not really concerned about armament. They just want a regime change in Iran because what Israel wants, Israel gets. Take a listen.
One of the points Dan Caldwell made is that Trump absolutely is committed to the diplomatic resolution. He does not want to cast aside the possibility of diplomacy in pursuit of war, even though people like Tom Cotton and Lindsey Graham, all the usual suspects, Mike Waltz, Marco Rubio, are encouraging that. He's saying, I think we can do a deal that will result in assurances that Iran will not get a nuclear weapon. And a lot of the hardest core neocons, the most fanatical Israel loyalists, are going insane because the idea of stopping Iran's nuclear program is the pretext. What these people want is a change in the regime in Iran. They want to go back to installing the Shah of Iran's monarchy that they installed back in 1954. And the Shah of Iran's son thinks he's the legitimate ruler of Iran. They want to put him back into office. Dan Caldwell called him the ultimate fail son. You may remember the Iraq War, the exact same strategies. They had a bunch of Iraqi exiles who had no connection to the Iraqi people, hadn't lived there for 40 years. People like Ahmed Shamaldi, who was going to float in and govern Iraq once they got rid of Saddam as a U.S. puppet, a puppet of neocons, a puppet of Israel, just like the Shah of Iran was. That is still their plan. That is the real goal, to scare Americans about Iran's nuclear program as a pretext for changing the regime of Iran. Here's Mark Dubowitz from one of the most neoconservative think tanks in Washington, giving up the game because he's scared that Trump is going to succeed in diplomacy. He says, quote, "The Islamic Republic is weaker than ever, hated by most Iranians," meaning we're going to be welcomed as liberators, same thing we heard in Iraq, "hammered by the IDF and Mossad. Its terror armies, air defenses, missile production capabilities are in ruins. Never a better time to dismantle its nuke program and finish off the regime. Will another POTUS blink?" Meaning, will Trump be too scared to send Americans to go die for a regime change war in Iran, notwithstanding the utter and complete and total failure of regime change wars in the Middle East over the last 25 years, at least failure from the American perspective, not necessarily from the Israeli one.
No, it's been remarkably successful from the Israeli perspective. America becomes more dilapidated. We are essentially a slave colony to Israel. They've just been extending their territory, spending money because they're protected under AIPAC and allowed to be able to do that, to influence the conversations and to smear anybody that is starting to realize that and waking up and asking meaningful questions about this strange relationship that we have, where they're abusive to us. They openly mock us. They openly say that they use anti-Semitism as a weapon to control us. They openly say that people who stand up to them are going to face consequences. I mean, these are Bibi Netanyahu's own words, that they can control speech in America. And America is something that can be manipulated easily with money. And you got to wake up to this, because I am telling you that freedom is precious, and I am not liking what I am seeing happening on college campuses. I've spoken out. I've used my platform as much as I can to illustrate how despicable it is and how honestly sadistic and psychopathic it is that we are being told that having any feeling about dead children and women who they're planning to build hotels on their bodies, us having any shred of moral decency and upset about that somehow makes us monstrous and anti-Semitic. Where Palestinians are Semitic. And I just want you to always know, as I state, if you think you are defending people that won't do those same things to you, like when you defend people that are capable of that level of insanity and manipulation and murder and distress, and then gaslighting for you going, oh my gosh, this is sad. Why are 20,000 kids dead? And you think that you're going to be protected for defending them, you are out of your mind. That's like you being the lowest member of a gang and thinking that the people at the top won't kill you quickly. It's a nonsense. It's why I was never interested in being in a gang growing up. You're not protected when you're in a gang, okay? And so I just want to state that and tell you guys to look out for all of these stories, because they are encroaching on free speech in America. And that has been a joint effort from Republicans and Democrats. The Trump administration is cracking down on speech on college campuses. It has been hypocritical to what they have promised us in the past. And it is because of this relationship with so many neocons who have infiltrated the MAGA movement, which is why I have no use for Republican versus Democrat anymore. It's like you fight for freedom or you don't fight for freedom. So I'm either your ally if you're fighting for freedom or your foe. And I hope that I've encouraged you guys to pursue these conversations and to follow the people that are brave enough to have them. And I guess I would list Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, definitely Dave Smith, who are speaking about the Israel conversation. It's the most pertinent one, I would say, for us to have right now. So stay awake and do not support people that are telling you that this Iran war is necessary. Our lives will get worse. Bibi Netanyahu and Israeli lives will get better, and they will still call you anti-Semitic at the end of the day. All right, guys, want to read some of your comments. There were a couple that came in about Joe Peterson, Jordan Peterson yesterday. Plus, we'll see what you guys are saying. First, I want to tell you about home title lock. If you are a homeowner, you need to listen to this because when is the last time you checked on your home title? That's the legal proof that you own your house. If you're like me, the answer is never. The problem is that in today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals can just forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and that's it. Your home title has been transferred out of your name. And they can take out loans using your equity or even sell your property. You won't even know that it's happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice. That's why you need to stop what you're doing and find out today if you are already a victim of this. You can use promo code Candace at hometitlelock.com/Candace to make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud should happen, they will spend up to $1 million to fix it. So just head to hometitlelock.com/Candace now. Use promo code Candace. That's hometitlelock.com, Candace with promo code Candace. Also, Pure Talk, because you should not be getting suckered anymore into that free phone scam by Big Wireless. Those deals always come with a lot of fine print, like requiring you to sign up for 4 lines, activation fees, plus more. At the end of the day, you usually pay for that free phone about 3 times over. Well, there is a better way. Pure Talk, which is my sponsor and my wireless company, has a much better offer with a qualifying plan of just $35 a month. You can get the brand new Samsung Galaxy A26 for free. This one is virtually indestructible Gorilla Glass, and it captures beautiful wide-angle photos with next-generation camera lenses. All you have to do is switch to Pure Talk. For just $35 a month, you will get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data with a mobile hotspot, all on America's most dependable 5G network. So go to puretalk.com/Candace to make the switch. Again, that's puretalk.com/Owens. /Owens to claim your free Samsung Galaxy. I think I said Candace first. It's puretalk.com/Owens to claim your free Samsung Galaxy with the qualifying plan when you switch to Pure Talk, which is wireless by Americans and for Americans. Okay. Comment yesterday. It was so funny to see kind of the mood shift because I said earlier I had done an episode on Jordan Peterson and people, I think also, I don't know, people just weren't ready to talk about his X feed, which has been weird for a long time. But yesterday there were so many comments that were really thoughtful and spoke about, I want to say correctly said that you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. His original series that he did on YouTube that transformed so many people's lives, like those lectures when he was just a teacher sitting down speaking about various topics, do not throw that baby out with the bathwater. The 12 Rules for Life book that changed so many people's lives, people should still buy that book, and people obviously shouldn't feel any animosity towards him and should pray for him. But even though you recognize, it's even greater, you were able to change your life around and become somebody better. Like I said, you don't want to kick somebody when they're down. You want to call them out because they need to be called out and they have to own up to their crap and clean their own room. But we obviously all want to root for Jordan Peterson to get better. This one user wrote, I feel like Jordan Peterson is an easy guy to psychoanalyze. He's deeply attached to his ego, his idea of himself as a highly intelligent, eloquent prophet who bridges the ivory tower intelligentsia and the common man. Everything he does is a performance to uphold that idea. He speaks not because he believes what he's saying, but because he adores how he thinks he's being perceived. Even when he finished his tweet about the Lord's name in vain and wrote, truly no worse crime, he doesn't believe that. Not for 2 seconds does he think that crime is particularly bad compared to rape or murder. He just adores his idea of himself as an intellectual who understands these things so deeply that he sees things that we can't. I love this comment, and I want to remove it actually from Jordan Peterson because I think it speaks to how we all feel about the academic class in general, that they just perceive themselves. They do just like to hear themselves speak. And that was kind of why I said people are gravitating more towards the Theo Vaughns and the Joe Rogans because they almost enjoy not being relatable. Like there is this hierarchy of like when they experience all the same hardships that we experience, they're somehow better. And there's like a deeper layer and that you guys just don't understand and can't see because you're not educated. And I would say that the same about Sam Harris. He does that all the time. And even when they're proven to be patently wrong on a variety of topics, they still have to uphold this idea of themselves as above everybody else, right? So it's like they get into a car accident, you get into a car accident. Well, theirs was a different kind of car accident. And you're just not, you don't understand the nature of why when they did it, it was totally different. It's like, dude, just be human. Just be human. We are all so tired of it. So I'm so tired of hearing from the academia. I wish it would honestly just go away. Anyway, some more comments that we have today. Tracy writes, enjoy your maternity leave and a beautiful bundle that you are bringing into the world. We will be waiting for your return. I will be waiting as well, guys. I am definitely going to miss you. This feels like my daily therapy. I get to just speak to you about a variety of topics. Beth writes, speaking of so many questions, what are the lyrics in your promo? When will the Harvey series return? Approximate return date? I will have time to catch up on all of your episodes since I just found you in January. Ooh, I'll recommend some for you. A Michael Jackson episode. Definitely go and watch the NASA episode. Join the book club because I'm going to keep that up. On Friday, we will have the next book club meeting, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 6:00 p.m. Eastern will be the next book club meeting. I do not know about the return date because I don't know when the baby's going to come, and I hope that I have another really easy birth. I've had 3 easy births so far, but you never know. So I can't give an approximate return date just yet, but I'll definitely be updating you guys kind of sporadically, although I'll mostly be offline. The lyrics in my are from Kanye's Stars song. I hope he's bright and brave and strong. That is what it is saying. And the Harvey series, we will likely be dropping an episode of me speaking to Harvey. So that should also be happening while I'm on maternity leave. It's looking like 90% yes to that. Brina writes, why does the interview with Meghan Markle in that clip remind me of the interviews by Caesar on the Hunger Games series? Because it is. It's kind of just like, let them eat cake. May the odds be forever in our favor. I love it. I love it. I don't know. I love people who are just living that high, flying that high, and just really enjoying sprinkles. It's why I just love hanging out with my daughter. It's just everything is just so sparkly for her. I want to keep her in a little sparkly shell. Cynthia Person writes, Candace, please make a shirt and hat that says Christ is King and put your name on it. We have that on our website. It's at CandaceOwens.com. You can buy merch. You can buy Christ is King merch. We sell that already. Brian writes, please interview Justin Bieber, Candace. I would love to make that happen. And I will see if I can make that happen. I think when he is ready to have that discussion, he has a lot of people who would like to sit down with him, and he can definitely trust me to do a good job with that. Kay Conrad writes, I would love to know your thought process on how you chose Catholicism over Orthodoxy in your studies. I know it's a personal journey, and I want to respect that. I do have a lot of questions for you. Yeah, the Catholics and the Orthodox see themselves like brothers and sisters that had an unfortunate fight. And I was drawn toward both of them for a variety of reasons, realizing that neither one of them were kind of updating themselves with the times. I found that when it came to defending the faith in general, they were just unmoved. Like they're the most staunch defenders of Christ as King. They were when that whole debacle was happening a couple of years ago. But beyond, just like over the years, they're just unmoved. And you realize that they're tethered by truth, not by the times. To kind of get into that, like I said a couple episodes ago, I feel not equipped to have that discussion. Like I feel very vulnerable on the topic of religion because I'm just starting this process and there's so much to learn. I mean, this is the history of mankind that we're speaking about. And there are people like my husband who had that interest, just kind of came out of the womb and just had questions about God and grew up in a very faithful household and then decided to study theology at Oxford. And he has so much on me in terms of just the time, the development, and the thought process. And that's why he's obviously not just a leader of our home, but the spiritual leader of our home. And I'm still grappling with all of these questions. And I still have questions about the Catholic faith that I work through with a priest and with him. And so I would just like to be more fully formed because when you already have a platform, there's no grace. If you say something wrong, oh my gosh, she said something, it's not according to Catholic doctrine or something like that. I just don't want to let people down. Or she's totally wrong about what she said or what she learned about the Orthodox. I just don't want to let anybody down, and I want to be ready for that conversation. So I know that God will put it in my heart when that time is right. We have Misty. She writes, excuse me. Misty writes, I wonder if the paparazzi were established in response to the morality clause. I seem to make the point that they seem to make that point in Hollywood Babylon, I believe. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I think you're actually right about that. I do think that that the paparazzi are basically used. They can always create a scandal surrounding somebody. And we did also speak about how with Britney Spears, they had hired paparazzi and they had intentionally broken her car down. Essentially, they can make anyone look crazy by using paparazzi. And if they want to take over your business or they want to get rid of you or you are about to come out and say something, they definitely use the press to control a lot of celebrities. But we'll get more into that as we cover Hollywood Babylon. As I said, we have the book club tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. So, and I will be maintaining the book club, by the way, this entire time that I'm on maternity leave, because it's very easy. That's what I like to do on maternity leave, is read, and I can always just put the baby on me. So if you have not joined the book club, please do. The books are super interesting that we are reading. Hollywood Babylon just started. You still have time to get it tomorrow at 6 p.m. You can just have it overnighted, and it's a very short book. And beyond that, we will be reading The Assault on Truth. Don't worry for you guys who can't find that book. We're actually getting a bunch shipped to us so we can sell them right on the website direct to you, and it will be a lot cheaper. Anyways, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that, like I said, Ian will have one more episode next week. And so you guys can, I'm trying to make that happen live so that you guys can ask us questions. And if there's anything else I can think of in summation before I get back from maternity leave, I will have it for you when me and Ian Carroll sit down, because he will be part-time taking over the show beginning in early May. So look forward to that. It's going to be very sad, guys. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Actually, the only sentence I know from that song, but I don't want you guys to cry. I'm not crying. You're crying. We're all crying. Anyways, you guys, we will see you on Monday.